Hi, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my video. Today I will be talking about my 5 best financial decisions I've ever made. My first one was preventing potential debt. I went to college and it doesn't hit you that you're poor until everyone's going out to all these fancy French restaurants where the food is this small and it's $100. So yeah, I would have to decline those. And then I realized that they would increase tuition by 3% each year, and this would be for the total cost. It's not just whatever you pay times 3%, it's everything. And so that hit me like a ton of bricks, because then every single year the amount you can take out for your government loans also increases. So I think in the end I actually had to pay $12,000 a semester or something like that. So I went from paying $8,000 a semester to $12,000 a semester. And what saved me was that I graduated a semester early. And then so I called the company that was giving out my scholarship, and I asked them if they could apply my scholarship for the next semester to the current semester, and they agreed to. So that really helped me out in terms of reducing my costs. And then at the end of my senior year, I was just able to pay off my entire loan, and I was just I'm done with this. It doesn't have to plague me for life. Graduating early saved me about $8,000, and then I didn't go to my own graduation. For me, it didn't make sense. No one was going to come see me graduate, and then I would have to pay for the gown, and I don't want to have to sit there for a couple hours. Because at that time I was already working, and then the opportunity cost at the time was too much for me. Because my next best financial decision was to reduce fixed costs. So fixed costs are the costs that don't change from month to month or every billing cycle. So those would be your rent and your internet and monthly subscriptions. So to reduce my rent, I lived with a roommate in the beginning, and then he moved out. It was me and the whale. My costs went from $500 to $1,000. We heard that there was going to be another rent increase that was going to be $1,500. I was oh, that's a little steep, because utilities aren't included in the rent. So I was yeah, I think we're just going to move. So moving to Chicago has decreased my cost of living while increasing my quality of life. I don't really have to worry about too many things here, because I can actually afford things now. And then we also negotiated our internet bill. So then it was about $25 to $29 a month, which is a lot cheaper than whatever the guy downstairs was paying, because I think he was paying close to $40, $50. So it helped. The little things add up. So my third best financial decision was to negotiate my salary. I found a job through Craigslist, and then on the very first day of this job, he just threw me in, and I was ringing up customers, I was doing just everything, and I was just learning. He just came up to me during a really busy time and was so you're okay with this amount, right? And then he walked away, and I didn't even have time to process it. And then this ended up being my pay talk. So I was just stuck with this number. And then thankfully everyone else was paid the same, but I felt really bad because a lot of people had been working there for maybe 3-4 years even. So what helped me was that I told myself I can't stay in crappy positions for a really long time. And in that time span, I had access to internet. So I would be applying for jobs, and I would be taking calls, having interviews before and after my job, things like that. The job that I had lined up came back to me. It actually did end up going through. It was just pushed back because of logistics or something. And so after that, I learned, okay, I really have to negotiate my salary. So I did some research, and I went around to people I trusted, and I was just okay, how much do you make if you're comfortable, or do you make over or under this amount? And then some people would be kind of discouraging, and they would say, hey, you're dispensable, they could replace you anytime. Why are you even trying to negotiate? And I'm here well, I'm pretty sure most companies don't want to go through the whole training process all over again because it takes away time and resources. So that gives you some leverage into negotiating your salary. What ended up happening was actually really good. My first manager at the time, he got a promotion and became like some sort of vice president or something. But he was still involved in the hiring process because I was still under him in the hierarchy. And so he forwarded me the whole entire thread between the big boss and him about like my salary. And so that way it gave me like time to prepare my speech. And I also heard that you should give a really random number, like a very precise number, so it seems like you did some research. So that's exactly what I did, and they were like, okay, let me sit on this, and they came back and they were like, okay, fine. Like eventually I was talking to like my next manager and he said that I could have negotiated for even more, but you know what, I was happy at the time because I was still making like a little bit more than most of the people working there, and like fairly so because I was taking on a lot more responsibilities than they were. My next best financial decision was to never pay for full cost if I can help it. So there are things that you can negotiate. Like one time the whale went on a field trip and they were at a gyro cart, and one of his classmates was like, I'll give you $5 because it was like really quiet at the time and it was lunchtime. So I guess the cart guy was like, okay, like I'm not gonna get any more customers today. So the whale ended up getting his gyro for $5 instead of $8. So when I go shopping online, I usually use promo codes, and then I also try to like stack regular like website cashbacks with my credit card cashbacks. And then if I am abroad or on a foreign site, I will try to use the currency exchange with the value-added taxes to my advantage. So for example, this is what I do. I sometimes will browse the Hong Kong websites for things like contact lenses because it's like $20 a box for me. And then like my eyes are not the same prescription, so it's $40 every single time I buy contact lenses. So what I do is I go onto the Hong Kong equivalent of it, and then the currency exchange is a lot better. So I would just, type in how much it is per box. And then I think one time there was a mistake, and so it was like 6 Hong Kong dollars per box. So I ended up getting a whole year's worth of contact lenses for $30, and that was pretty great. I also buy like designer handbags, but I also make sure, if I have a trip to Europe, especially to places where their sales tax might be really insane, then I'll make sure I'll go there to buy it. But sometimes, the selection isn't that great, and I end up getting a big tax refund the next month or something. My last best financial decision was to save. I saved like crazy. So like we would go to BJ's and I would have like the coupons, and then I would have like the app coupons. I'm the crazy coupon lady in like my friend group. And I have the whale. He's really obsessive about going on deal websites. So he'll send me some deals and I'll just pass it along to all my friends. I had $100 left after paying off my student loans, and it forced me to save. So I at least have to have some sort of money flowing in. So then I just applied to, some minimum wage jobs. I was just afraid, like when you have $100 in your bank account, it gets really nerve-wracking because like anything could happen at any time. Like, dude, one grocery trip could be like $100 or $101 and you're just screwed. I just really needed to beef up my savings. So I would put a big portion of my paycheck, like 50%, into savings, or I would put it into opening up a new account so that way I can churn, and then it would earn me more money on top of whatever I was getting. So I think my first year out of college, I made a couple hundred just from churning. And then after I met my savings goals, I would put like a small portion of my paycheck into investments. So then for my investment money, I put that into ETFs, and it actually grew to like 30% because I put it around the time of the correction. And so it's just helped me, save up for major life events like buying a home. So these are my 5 best financial decisions. I hope you learned something and you can like try to apply something in your life. So hope to see you next time. Bye.